This video is part of the course that is Build Reactive REST APIs with Spring Web Flux and Spring Boot. Link for the course is given in the description. Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we will see event-driven stream. So in reactive programming, data flow happens with the help of event. So let's first understand what is event. Say for example, we have SQL database and in that we have one table that is order, and inside the order table we have 10 records. So here each record or basically each row we will get as an event. So basically each data item that we are receiving from the data source is an event. Now this data source can be anything, external service or database. If data flow completes successfully, then there will be completion event. Or say for example, if anything went wrong, then there will be error event. The one who provides the data is basically publisher. So in our example, it can be anything like database or external service. And the one who receives the data is the subscriber. So here it's our Java application, or you can say Spring Boot application is the subscriber. Now let's understand event-driven stream with the help of diagrams. So here we have Spring Boot application and we have one SQL database. Say for example, we have one order table and inside the order table we have 10 records, basically 10 rows. Now from our Spring Boot application, we are calling the database to get the orders, basically all the orders with the help of JPA. Now here in the reactive programming, the call will be immediately returned. It will not wait for the database to get all the records, basically all the 10 records. If you remember, then in the imperative style of the programming, right, we have seen in the previous lectures, here it waits for the database to get all the records. But here reactive programming is asynchronous and non-blocking. So once you ask for all the records from the order table, the call will be returned immediately. It will not wait for over here. The reason is it's asynchronous and non-blocking. So now the call has been returned immediately. Now let's understand how data flow happens from the publisher to subscriber. So as I said earlier, everything right in the data flow happens with the help of event. So here we have 10 records in the order table that we have asked, right? So the first row, basically the first record, there will be on next event. Now this is another on next event. So this is for another record, basically second record. Likewise, there will be n number of on next events. So in our example, we have 10 records. So there will be 10 on next events. Each of these on next events is having one record that we have asked. Now say for example, this is completed. We got 10th record with this on next event. So data flow completes successfully. So at the end, there will be on complete event. Now let's have another scenario. Say for example, in the order table, we don't have any record. Basically, order table is empty. So from our Spring Boot application, we are calling the database to get all the records from the order table. Okay. So the call will be returned immediately because it's asynchronous and non-blocking. But now in this case, we don't have any record in the order table. So there will not be any on next event because we don't have any record inside the order table. So directly we will get on complete event. So here we don't have any record in the order table. So there will not be any on next event and directly we will get the on complete event. So this is the success scenario. Now let's talk about the failure scenario. So the same case we will take, okay. In the order table, we have 10 records and that's what we are asking from our Spring Boot application. So the call will be returned immediately. The first record we got with the help of this on next event. Then we have this second record we got and there will be on next event. Now say for example, while getting the third record, we got some exception or say for example, some error, okay. And we are not able to get that third record with the help of this on next event, right? So basically some exception or error happened. So in that case, there will be on error event. So this will give us the idea that something wrong happened and that's why we have got this on error event. So far, we have seen the scenarios while getting the data. Now, let's talk about the case when we want to persist the data into database. So from our Spring Boot application, we are trying to save the data into database. So call will be returned immediately because it's asynchronous and non-blocking. And here the return type is void. Basically, there is nothing to return right from the database. So directly we will get onComplete event. So here there is nothing to return, or you can say the return type is void. So we directly have this onComplete event. Now, say for example, while saving the data, something went wrong. It can be constraint violation or something else. In that case, there will be onError event. So here we have seen three events: onNext, onComplete and onError. So this is event-driven stream in reactive programming. If you like the video, then please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video, do comment in the comment section and share with your friends. Do you want to learn reactive programming with Spring Webflux? If yes, then I am having complete course on it. In this course, first you will learn what is reactive programming and why you need to go for reactive programming. You will learn basics of reactive programming with Project Reactor library, and also you will learn reactive types, Flux and Mono with practical example. This course covers what is back pressure and how to achieve back pressure using reactive programming. In this course, you will learn different schedulers provided by reactive programming to perform tasks asynchronously. After having the basic knowledge of reactive programming, you will learn how to build reactive REST APIs with Spring Webflux and Spring Boot. You will learn how to have functional endpoint for your reactive REST APIs, and also you will learn how to get path variable, query param and HTTP headers while working with functional endpoints for your reactive REST APIs. You will learn to build non-blocking REST APIs with Spring Webflux and Spring Data R2DBC using different HTTP methods like GET, PUT, POST and DELETE. Here, Spring Data R2DBC is used to connect to any SQL database in a reactive way. Just want to mention that you can't use Spring Data JPA while working with reactive programming, and that's why Spring Data R2DBC is there for the same purpose. In this course, you will learn to create video streaming application just like YouTube using reactive REST APIs and Spring Webflux. So what are you waiting for? Link for the course is given in the description. Just click on that and start building reactive REST APIs with Spring Webflux and Spring Boot. That's all for now. We'll see you in the another video. Till then, happy learning and happy coding.